Hey there, Danny here. Welcome to my ramblings. um, I want to talk to you about solid foundations. And this applies across more than just relationships, but pretty much everything in life starts on a solid foundation. And if it's not built on a solid foundation, it's not long term. It's temporary. And let me explain it to you in the simplest way I've figured out how to explain it to anybody who I'd have a conversation with about solid foundations. So, we're going to talk about skyscrapers. Skyscrapers technically defy gravity. That's exactly what a skyscraper is. Now, in order for that skyscraper to defy gravity, that foundation that is built must be built solid, so it can withstand defying gravity. So when they start to build a skyscraper, they don't build from having it all there from the height. They can't do that. If they did that, it wouldn't be supported. So they spend a lot of time on the structure. And we're going to liken the structure, the foundation that they build for skyscrapers literally is equivalent to roots of trees and vegetation. So essentially what they're doing building the skyscraper is building roots for the skyscraper to be able to withstand nature and force it to topple over. So when you're building a solid foundation, you have to realize that it's nothing more than just like planting a seed. And the reason that they're here is because you don't see, when you see skyscrapers being built, you see holes, you see things that you don't quite understand. And the reason you don't understand it is because you don't build skyscrapers. Same way as when you plant a seed. A seed is put in, buried in the earth. It is then watered and cared for until it sprouts. And then once it breaks through the surface, now they can start building the height. Now the plant or the tree can start going higher and it will defy gravity. Same thing with a skyscraper. Once they have built all of the roots for it, the solid foundation, then they can start adding the layers to get to the height that they want. So it may defy gravity. Stick with me here. I know. So everything that must defy gravity everything that must defy the laws of nature, literally, must have a solid foundation, must have roots in the earth, or they're never going to defy the laws of nature. And your foundation is no different. Your foundation is absolutely no different than what a tree or a skyscraper would be. And here's the thing. And I'm going to use this as an example because I think a lot more people will understand this aspect of it. I do a lot of talking about learning to love yourself, find your true authentic self, and energetically leveling up. Your walk with the man upstairs. And a lot of videos I have shared my personal life stories, things that have happened to me to use as an example. But I feel sometimes that my doing that doesn't exactly get the point across to people who are trying to understand this without the relationship aspect. So that's why I'm sharing with you about the solid foundation and the roots. So the story that I'm going to use, I shouldn't say it's not even really a story, it's just reality. But I'm going to use this as an example so you can comprehend, and hopefully more people will comprehend what I'm talking about when I talk about building that solid foundation, which is essentially learning to love yourself and find your true authentic self. Because we've all been preconditioned, and building that solid foundation, the roots, is literally about overriding those preconditions that have been put into your brain and your belief system. And that solid foundation is going to get rid of all of that preconditioning, because it's going to teach you how to see the reality of what's around you. So there's two things that I want to discuss about it particularly, but the skyscraper thing is easier for me to explain to everybody. So when you see companies, I don't care if it's average Joes who are just selling a product on social media, or if it's a big business or whatever. They're selling a product, a service, or some sort of program. So when they are selling these things, here's how you know what a solid foundation is. If you're watching videos or you're seeing videos on businesses that are, hey, come join our stuff, buy into our product, our program, our service, and you could get rich yourself. And let me share these testimonies. Now, those testimonies that they are sharing with you of how some people got rich from them, from the program, the product, or the service, is literally the exception to the rule. That's not the rule. They would not share with you the rule. And here's why. Because the rule would make it so you wouldn't buy their product, program, or service. They show you the exception to the rule, so then you believe that you're going to be an exception like that person. Here's the thing. Everybody can't be an exception, because then that wouldn't be a rule. Multiple exceptions mean no rule. Come on now. It's stated clearly in there's an exception to the rule. Exceptions are rare, but they sell you the program, services, or product based off of these exceptions, forcing you to believe, because you're preconditioned, that being rich is what's going to make you happy. The problem with selling a program, a product, or a service, and only using the exceptions to sell that product, program, or service, that is a company, an individual, or whoever is selling it, that is telling you they do not have a solid foundation. A solid foundation would not need to bombard you with the exception to the rule, because anybody with an ounce of a brain would know that an exception is not common, it's rare. So if they're selling you something, product, program, service, based off of the exception, they have no solid foundation. If they had a solid foundation, they would not be selling you a product, a program, or a service based off that exemption. I'm sorry, my bad. Getting ahead of myself here. Anyways, if the company that is selling the product, program, or service had built a solid foundation, the product, the program, or the service would sell itself. They wouldn't need to make videos or commercials or any type of propaganda to get you to buy into this, because the service, the product, or the program would sell itself based off of other people's testimonies without needing to have all the marketing. Seriously, marketing is nothing more than manipulation. They're manipulating you based off of your preconceived or preconditioned beliefs. And this has been being set up for a long, long time. The powers that be in our societies have been monitoring us for a long time. And they monitor us because they want to see how they can keep us. Essentially, they're attempting to keep us stuck in the we have to be purchasing things and we have to have possessions, we have to have money in order to be happy. But that's not what happiness is. And anybody who believes that that's going to give them happiness, you're preconditioned. And you need to get rid of your preconditioning. You need to build that solid foundation. Now, to build that solid foundation, you're gonna figure out who you are. And that's essentially what learning to love yourself and finding your true authentic self and energetically leveling up means. I've been doing these videos for about 2 years. Actually, no, we're in 2026. So, I've been doing them for 3 years now. And I have made absolutely no money off of it. I don't even care that I don't have a ton of subscribers. I like the views. I like seeing how many views I get. And not because I'm looking to make anything, but because the more views I get, that means more of what I'm trying to share with the world is getting out there. And that's exciting to me. Because of the sole purpose that I want more people to build a solid foundation so their skyscraper or their tree can defy gravity. We don't see all laws that are made, all these laws that we all must follow are literally made by human beings. I personally like to live my life by the laws of nature, which is why I shared the skyscraper and the roots, the solid foundation. Because if you do not build that solid foundation first, it could crumble very quickly. And that's why in a lot of my videos, I've expressed to you about ego and pride and all the preconditioning that you have had. Because I'm trying and hoping to show you how to build that solid foundation. I've been through a lot, and I want to share it with you in the hopes that it might help somebody to get through something easier than if they didn't have anybody. Because I don't want anybody to feel alone. You can build a solid foundation of roots and be able to defy gravity. Because just look around at nature. A lot of nature defies a lot of man-made laws. So, come on, get out of your comfort zones. Let's get you building a solid foundation, guys. Anyways, I'll leave you with that. I'll be back in a day or two. I actually got a couple of different things I want to discuss with you about friends and things like that. Like I said, I've been a writing, thinking fool. Anyways, guys, I hope you have a great day. I will talk to you in a day or two. Love ya. Bye.